Sainers, first of all, it's time. It's time we get the bevies out. Let me know how you're feeling. Everyone asked me to bring out the champagne, to bring out the drinks, and I didn't go for the champagne because that's saved for if we make finals. But tonight we've got the 2018 Shiraz by McLaren Vale. Very nice. It's got a good body to it, I hear. So it's going to be a good night. So pour yourself a drink. We've got a special guest that's about to join us as well. But first, get your drinks ready, and we'll cheers to the St Kilda Football Club. I've had a couple of reds during the game. I watched it with a good friend of mine, Murray. He's a Brisbane Lions supporter. It was a very tough game to watch with him. We both just don't like it when we have to watch games with each other and barrack for our teams against our mate's team. But fuck, what a performance. It was a perfect performance. Max King, that second quarter, 3 goals, 8 marks on Harris Andrews. You know, the best fullback of the last couple of years. The midfield grunt, Steele kicking 2 in the last when we needed it. Dunstan continuing his form. The rucks doing their jobs around the ground. Membry kicking 2 important goals. Ben Long and Mackenzie again standing up when they needed to. The lesser likes, and Tom Highmore, I'm sorry, but that's an absurd performance in the back half. He was everywhere. I think he had 6 intercept marks, the most on the ground, and he did everything. But before we get into it, I'll add him on. Give me a sec. We're going to get someone that you guys know from the Saints TV podcast. We're going to get Joycey on, and we're going to have a chat with him. So let's bring Joycey on. Let's see if this goes well. How are we going?
Yeah, good. How are we, guys? Doing well? I am feeling tip bloody top. This is the win of the year for me. Beating Richmond was great, but Brisbane aren't an out-of-form side, and we absolutely dismantled them tonight. So that was just awesome to see. So I've got the bevy out.
What do you got there, Joyce? Let's do a virtual cheers, mate.
A virtual cheers to you. Excellent. I'm drinking the 150 Lashes by James Squire. It's a pale ale. It's a great drop. Up from New South Wales, that one. So fantastic. So yeah, I'm currently sitting here with my best mate, the man of the hour.
I want to jump through my phone and just
don't you? He's just gorgeous. Isn't he great? Wasn't that a big skipper's performance from him? That was just so fantastic. You were chatting about the players before as well, but I think, big props to Jack Steele. He got the tag all night. He when Matheson came on the ground, it was his job. Barely got a touch in the third quarter. Came back out in the last quarter, had something absurd, like 9 touches and kicked 2 goals. So, when you got leaders like that.
Yeah, and that first goal that he kicked, that set shot, the game was still kind of on the edge there, and you needed him to kick it to get that, to feel a bit more comfortable, because until we got maybe 5 goals up, I wasn't fully convinced the game was done yet. I don't know how you felt. Were you pretty comfortable?
No, never. Can never be comfortable as a St Kilda supporter. So, it was nice to see him kick that one and then kick the sealer. So that was that was a real captain's performance by Jack Steele there. But our midfield was fantastic.
How about the back line though?
Well, the great thing was they started so many linking chains through the corridor.
It seemed like second nature. I don't know, like from me watching it, but to me I just felt like I could sit back on the couch and I knew when Wilkie got it, he was going to handball it to the right guy at the right time. That guy was going to kick it to the right guy, and then he was going to get a handball receive, and we were in the forward line within 4 touches.
Exactly right. And you can't underestimate the influence from Zac Jones that creates. Just knowing that you had a spare runner. We've constantly been missing that runner.
Yeah, I don't think he had. I'm not sure what his stats were at the end. Do you know what his stats were?
Wasn't massive. It wasn't massive though. But it was just it freed up the other running players because he was always active. So that it just worked in tandem so well with the likes of Ryan Burns had a fantastic game.
How good
kicked
was
2 goals. Yeah. So he's coming through. Surely he gets the nod this week.
No, he won't. The Essendon bloke, Wilf, last night. What was his name? He kicked 3.
Yeah, Perkins. Fuck.
Perkins, yeah. He kicked more goals than Adelaide.
Oh, yeah, true. But yeah, he was fantastic. Connolly, again, we found one in Connolly. He was fantastic again. Just his poise around the contest, just never scared of what's behind
No.
him. Always looking forward to what's happening next, and yeah, it was just. I just can't believe the performance across the ground that we had.
All right, my mate Murray pretty well. We all played at
Oh,
South
yes.
Yarra Football Club together. Murray injured himself a few years ago, and he hasn't recovered since. He gave St Kilda full credit tonight.
Good man.
He's the one who brought this bottle of wine, so he's going to feel a bit upset that I'm drinking it now.
You're polishing it off. Yeah, good.
Thanks for that, Murray. But he thought that was Brisbane's worst performance of the year, and they were very off. Were they very off? Because I said to him that in our wins against Richmond and against Collingwood, their supporters said that was their worst performance. And I said, well, maybe we're the common denominator. Maybe direct it to the opponent that would maybe play that way. But he was of the belief that they could have played better, but they didn't. And I'm of the belief, well, you had 4 quarters to fix it and you couldn't.
That's exactly right. And I think that we just don't give enough credit to how good our defence has been over the past 3 weeks.
Over the past 5,
Over the past, it's been the best in the AFL by far.
First halves too.
Yep, absolutely. Our dynamic back there is working an absolute treat. Jimmy Webster, take a bow.
He cleaned up Cameron. Yeah.
Didn't go near it. He touched the ball 5 times or something, Like, that just doesn't happen for Charlie Cameron. And if he does touch the ball 5 times, he usually kicks 2 or 3 goals. So that was another Jimmy Webster masterclass.
And Hipwood being down, obviously that helped us because that was the thing we talked about in the podcast was how do we handle Danaher, Hipwood, McStay, the 3 tools. We didn't go with bringing in a Battle or a Joyce. In the end, we would have almost been too tall in the back line because Hipwood went down. Hindsight, it actually works out. It means Highmore can just do what he does best. Was that Highmore's best game?
Oh, yeah. Close to, he was brilliant against Adelaide, and he did the same job tonight. So I think for the club, that was his best game, definitely. His kicking was just spot on. So a lot of playmaking. And that's what I'm talking about from the half-back line. Some of the kicks we were pulling off, they were fantastic. Burns, Connolly, Highmore, 3 brand new players to the football club, taking risky kicks. Jimmy Webster doing so. Hill doing so. Hill not having a massive impact on the game, but still running the Ks.
I think he took a contested mark at one point. I was like, if Brad Hill's taking contested marks, then we're playing well. And when Ben Long's taking speckies, we're on. Ben Long.
That was the game for me. That was the game. When he took that mark, I was like, we are so on here. Yeah. Like, we are just playing with full frontal confidence, and we are taking it all on. But, Jake, I don't want to give too much away.
We've got the podcast, mate.
We've got the podcast coming up on Tuesday, and boy, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be massive.
Imagine Marshy right now. We tried to message him to get him on Saints fans, but obviously Marshy's out having a big one. I'm not sure. He's probably he's on Ackland Street, isn't he, somewhere?
Oh, probably. Yeah, that's where he wants to go. Yeah. So no, we'll leave him to his devices, but. I might sign off here and let you do your thing. And I look forward to Tuesday, though, mate. Go Sainers. Congrats.
Go Sainers. See you Tuesday, Joyce.
I'll see you there. Take care.
Bye. Beautiful. Great to have Joycey on. So, new sort of platform, guys. We'll try and get some Sainers like yourselves on the show as well. But to start, we'll just ease into a few regular faces and we'll get it on. So let me know if you enjoyed that, getting Joycey on and hearing his voice. But now we've got a lot of comments to get through, so let's go all the way to the top, and we'll go through some of these comments and answer them, but great to have Joycey on, and we'll get you guys on at some point as well, which will be awesome. So let's go through some of these comments, shall we? Let's go with Liam. Lachie Neal trying to ruffle Steele, but gets ruffled by Dunstan, #saintsfooty. That was awesome, and that's kind of, to me, what it felt like for the entire game was that we came out really physical. We came out wanting to match the intimidation because we saw what Brisbane did to Richmond. We've seen what they did to Geelong. They brought the heat. They intimidated teams that usually like to get things going on their terms. They tried to do it with us, but we gave it back and gave it back harder. And they couldn't match that. Matheson came on, tried to do that bit. Zorko tried to do it. They all tried to do it. But anytime they did, Steele, Dunstan, Ben Long, McKenzie, and people wonder why we have the Longs, the McKenzies, and the Dunstans in the team. It's to bring the heat like that, to bring the intensity that we haven't had for a long time. And I dare say if we don't have those three in the team bringing that sort of mental strength, we may not have won this game. That sets the foundation for us to go and play the fancy football. You need to bring the tough footy first against teams like Brisbane. We did that, and we did that brilliantly. So credit to them, but it was funny seeing Lachie Neal try to be tough against someone like Jack Steele that is having an amazing season and by far the better player of the two this year. Joel says, how good was Highmore? Highmore was sensational. 6 intercept marks, the most on the ground. My biggest worry going into this game was how do we kick goals without kicking it down the throat of Harris Andrews? And we found a way. We just kicked it everywhere else. Or we kicked it to Harris Andrews when Max King was taking marks, but the main defender that was hurting the opposition tonight was Tom Highmore. He was amazing, and his kicking was great too. You can get the ball and do nothing with it, and kick it sideways, kick it backwards, do boring stuff with it. Highmore is actually willing to take a kick into the middle. He plays on, he goes for the handball receive. It's kind of like it's Sam Fisher's birthday today, and he was the prototype centre-half back that rebounded and did the hard stuff, but did the attacking stuff and had a bit of flair. To me, Highmore gives me that feeling that he can put his body on the line, throw himself at a pack, but at the same time, when he gets the ball, we're rebounding quick and maybe turning it into an attacking proposition against the opposition. So Highmore, that was his best game for the club. He's had a few very good games now in the last 5 weeks, but that to me, against the opposition that he had to face, was the best by far. Oh. Simply superb, says Adrian. I agree, mate. That was phenomenal performance. This one's from Sam. Proud of Webster. He looked very on it tonight. My local club, Glenorchy Bay. TASIII Proud as punch. Yeah, as Joyce and I just talked about, you couldn't have asked much more from Jimmy Webster. He's had a big month. He's been leading up to this, but this was his big test, as it was for the rest of the team. Playing a team like Brisbane who've won 10 of their last 11. They were in the hottest form of any AFL team at the moment, and we've just beaten them by 5 goals. Now, whether they were down or not is irrelevant. We're now 9th. We are percentage, I think, off 6th or 7th now. This win just changes the season. We've got Port Adelaide at Marvel next Saturday night, Sainers, and I can't wait to go there. I really hope we can get there and we can get the capacity up and get 20, 30,000 there, because that's going to feel like another final. We win that, we're in the 8. That's the reality. That's huge. To go from losing tonight and being under Richmond in 14th to now being 9th, percentage out of the 8 is... It's classic Saints, isn't it? We get so many emotions. We go from being 14th to 9th to the season's now back up and running. And can we actually sneak into the top 6 and maybe win a final? It's funny how things happen. Zac Jones comes back. We've got our rucks back. Dan Hanbury's playing VFL tomorrow. It's amazing what happens when you get players back and you get your best players into their best positions. There's still room for improvement, but this creates so much belief for the club that, you know, surely we can just play full throttle like we did tonight for the rest of the season and just see where it takes us. God. This one's from Neil. Heat map differences are very telling. Such an even distribution for us around the back and middle. Shows how we stayed in control and switched when we needed. Beautiful coaching. That's a great comment, Neil. I haven't checked the heat map, but I love these sort of comments that just go with that extra detail that I haven't had a chance to look at. And I love my stats and my analytics, and you've brought that, so thanks for that. The back line, the switching was beautiful. It just felt like even when we were attacking and we turned the ball over, we were never out of position when they had to rebound. And that's kind of been our season. Was earlier in the year, we were almost too attacking, and even Brett Ratton and the players have admitted we were too attacking without defending. And that meant when we turned the ball over, we had so many players ahead of the ball that we were called lazy. We were one-way runners. You know, these are terms that media have called us many times this season, but it was the exact opposite tonight. Tonight was the most disciplined performance we have put in since probably the GWS game last year when we beat them by 50 to make finals. It was a very similar type performance where it was tight for 2.5, 3 quarters, and then for the fourth quarter, we just overwhelmed them with that pressure, with that style, and we got the scoreboard ticking over. And it's hard to believe that we started that game 1-5 with them. And I think we ended up kicking 14-11. So to go 13-6 for the rest of the game since that first quarter is amazing. So that's credit to our mids getting the ball in there into good spots, and also for our forwards who actually finish in a clinical way for once. And that shows when you kick straight, you can beat anyone. Wilkie, a true professional. What else is there to say about the old Cal Wilkie? It seems like you could play him on prime Wayne Carey, prime Gary Ablett Sr., and he would just do the same thing every week. He respects his opponent, but he doesn't give a stuff who he's playing on. He just does the job every single week, doesn't he? It doesn't matter who he's playing on. He shoves them out fairly. He doesn't push them. He marks it. But the best thing about Wilkie, to me, is his rebounding kicking. He always gets onto his left, and it's always a raking kick to the wing side near the boundary, but it always hits the target. To me, he would easily be top 5 in the best and fairest at the moment for the club. Easily. He has been the most consistent performer outside of Steele in the team. And you could say that about most of the back line tonight. They all did their roles just beautifully. It was a great performance in the back half. This one's from Thomas. Again, Long will get crucified. I assume you mean for that bump. I think he'll be fine. I obviously, that was a fair bump. He got the ball. Nothing in it for me. This one's from Zarie. Great seeing Zac's bald head back out there again. Our defence is amazing, especially Highmore. Ben Long every week is getting better. That's what happens when you get played and you have the backing of your team and your coaches behind you. Ben Long played a few good games in the back half last year, but to me, having him and Mackenzie back into the team and bringing that forward half pressure, to me, just sets the tone for the rest of the team. They don't have to be the best players on the ground. They don't have to have the most touches or kick the most goals or do anything like that. They just need to compete the hardest. And every week, at least the last 3 weeks since they've been in, you could say Ben Long and Dan McKenzie would be the top 5 on the ground for not giving up a contest and throwing their bodies at the footy. And they're some of the smaller sized players on the ground. They're not the big boys. So for them to do it, it sets the example for the big boys, the other guys. They all follow, and tonight everyone did what was required and more. That is, to me, the first time this year we can say that. Last week we did it for 3 quarters, and it was against a lesser team. The week before that, it was a good 4-quarter performance against Richmond, but tonight it all came together. We hit the scoreboard hard, we got some percentage back, and most importantly, we got some belief against who I deem to be the best team in the competition, Brisbane. They've won 10 of their last 11. Their biggest loss of the year was 31 points. We've now given them their biggest loss of the year, 32 points, I believe. So great performance all around, but obviously it all starts with having Zac Jones back, our rucks back, getting the players back into position from injury as well. It's crucial. And, for us to be 9th in percentage from 7th with the season we've had, I say this every week now, but for us to be that close with the season we've had, with the performances we've had, with the criticism we've had, with the injuries that we've had, this creates a winning culture to me. It's funny, 3 weeks ago I wouldn't have said that. Now, it just seems like it's building belief, guys. And if it doesn't happen this year for us, if we get a full fit team next year with some handy trade-ins, who knows, we could do something. But geez, these sort of wins are the wins that really make you believe again, don't they? We said it, I said it 10 times in the first 10 weeks. Every week we'd lose. I said, it's going to be hard for the club to win our support back, to win our trust back. They've won my trust back now. That was amazing. They've done it in the last 3 weeks, and prior to that, we should have beaten Adelaide, we should have beaten Sydney, we should be in the top 6. So we've had the last 6 weeks to go by. We're now 4-2 in the last 6 weeks. And we've got Port Adelaide in a finals-like game next week. So I can't wait for that, guys. Cannot wait for that. Oh, Dunstan. This is from Peter. This guy, I don't know. I was one at the start of the year that thought he was trade bait and a player that we could probably afford to get rid of. I honestly think that if Dunstan doesn't play, we don't see the performances from Crouch, Steele, and Jones tonight. He just takes so much heat off those guys. And tonight he finished with, I think, 27 or 28 disposals or something along those lines, close to Steele, who I think had the most on the ground for us. But he hasn't put a foot wrong in his last 4 weeks since he's played. I reckon he got Brownlow votes last week. He would have had Brownlow votes the week before that against Richmond because he got best on ground. The Jack Dyer medal, I think he got. And this week he'd be close to getting votes as well. Be very stiff not to, but he just takes so much heat off the Steels and the Crouches. He gets clearances. He's a big body. He knows how to lay tackles. And he's handy for a goal, and his disposal's actually getting a lot better. So full credit to Luke Dunstan. But yeah, I mean, it's just good depth. It makes Seb Ross and Jack Billings less important when you think about it, because you'd think that if we had a performance like tonight, you'd think Billings and Seb would have huge games. They didn't. I mean, Billings had 20 and I think he kicked a goal. But they didn't have groundbreaking performances, but you're still very happy. So whether that means they can be trade baited and you can get some players in is another question. But just adding that depth and seeing Ryan Burns come in and do a great job in kicking too. Leo Connolly doesn't look out of place at all in his third game, in his second official game. You know, there's some good times ahead with some of these youngsters coming through and some of the belief that they'll get from playing against some of the best, players in the comp. Leo Connolly playing on Lachie Neal and standing next to him and looking at how McCluggage goes about it. It's only crucial and beneficial for their development. Yeah, mate, of course. Always cheers to that. Go the Saints. Thanks for tuning in, Shaun. Oh. Zac Jones, 10 clearances. That's from Luke. That's a huge stat. Huge stat, mate. Was that most on the ground, by the way? Can anyone confirm that? Oh, mate, come on. This is I've got to weather this out. Just drink it slowly, enjoy it. After this, I'll definitely be watching the highlights again. Maybe the full game. It's Saturday night. Got nothing on tomorrow, so why not watch it until 1 a.m. in the morning? But yeah, this is a very nice Shiraz. I'm not a big fan of Shiraz, but I rate it, and I'm definitely going to just enjoy it slowly. No need to rush it just yet. This one's from Natalie. Great pressure actually hitting targets. Our pressure was fantastic, but it was also important for me that we backed it up with efficiency and with scoreboard pressure. And I was a bit worried in the first quarter, and particularly the first 10, 15 minutes where I thought we were on top and we were 1-5. And we were behind by 2 goals, I think, at that point in the second quarter, And it was 24-11, 13 points down. They get a couple of goals on the run. And I think, great, we've given our best shot, but Brisbane are going to overrun us. They're they're the best team in the comp. We've done our best, but that's it. But for us to then keep hitting our targets, take risky kicks down the middle. I mean, I think it was just before halftime. Ryan Burns goes for a Hail Mary kick into the middle of the ground to Rowan Marshall. And Rowan Marshall takes it because he's mismatched with Mitch Robinson. So for Ryan Burns to identify that and execute the kick was elite. And then Rowe plays on and hits it to Jack Billings, who I think misses the goal. But we don't get that scoring chance unless Ryan Burns is looking in the middle of the ground and willing to take on that kick and to trust his skill to execute it to Rowe. And he did it perfectly. And we did that for the whole game. We trusted our foot skills. That's something that we don't do often. And we kept it simple. And it's funny, when players are leading up to you, you hit targets. When players aren't leading up to you, your efficiency is obviously naturally down because you're kicking to packs. But we were always on the move. And we talked about how last week in the fourth quarter, our fitness looked shit. We looked like we could have gone another 4 quarters tonight. That's why I think it's all mental. Tonight we were switched on, and we would have, if the game kept going, Brisbane were in trouble because they weren't covering the ground nearly as well as we were. But it's just great to see we're getting some reward for effort. Great comment, Radley, mate. A regular Jake's Junk Mail contributor, so good to see you jumping on the lives, mate. How good was Dean Ken on return? Not a lot of the ball, but got to contest and kicked decently into the 50. You know what? During the week, for some reason, I watched the last quarter on replay of the Saints-Brisbane game from last year. And he had a massive last quarter. He was fantastic. Tonight, you would have thought that he was playing all year with us, but for him to be out for the last 10 weeks or so with concussion symptoms, and then for him to be a late in and to do what he did was fantastic. He didn't look like phased at all. He wasn't rusty. He took some good grabs. He laid some great tackles. And he set up teammates really well. And I think that's one thing that's underrated about Dean Kent is he may not kick a lot of goals, but he's always linking really well. And he's got a bit of toe about him. He doesn't look like the fastest guy on the field, but when he gets the ball, he's willing to run and take players on. And often he gets away with it. He's a lot faster than I think his opponents probably give him credit for. So, whether he keeps his position in the team or not next week with players coming in, I don't know. But I'd be happy to keep him in. That was a great performance from Dean Kent. Really good. Oh, what else we got? This is awesome, guys. Thanks for a lot of the comments. This one's from Brenton. Run in, Port Adelaide, that's at Marvel. West Coast away. Carlton, I think it's at Marvel. Sydney at Marvel. Geelong Gem, HBA, and Fremantle at Marvel as well. Feeling confident the way we're playing right now. I reckon we have a big chance in every game in the run home. Absolutely we do. Port Adelaide were pretty average against Melbourne a couple of nights ago. And we hardly ever play them at Marvel, so it's great to get them there, and I think this is a perfect time to get them. They're a bit out of form. They don't travel well. They don't play well in Melbourne generally. Collingwood nearly beat them only about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and they just got over the line by 1 point at the MCG. But with our confidence high, and with the fact that we know that if we win, we get into the top 8, is huge. And then West Coast a bit down on form. They've been travelling pretty average, even in WA. So I back us there to give a good contest. Carlton will be good as well. I back us there. Sydney and Geelong are probably the hardest run outside of the Port game. But even Geelong today against Carlton, they looked good, but they didn't look amazing. And then Fremantle, geez, that game looks big now because they're, I think, in the 8. They're the only reason we're not in the 8, I believe, because they won today by 10 goals. So thanks a lot for that, believe Fremantle. Would have been good for Hawthorn to win. But that could come down to the final game of the year to make finals. Who knows? But if we win every game up until that, I dare say it, Sainers, and I'm not counting my chickens before they've hatched, but we could be looking at finals before that last game's even played, which would be amazing. But this is the perfect time to find form. So, geez, we're peaking at the right time. Let's just say that. This one's from Darren. Can we beat Port next weekend? Absolutely we can, Darren. If we play like we did tonight, if we play like we did for 3 quarters last week, and if we play like we did for the 4 quarters the week before that against the reigning premiers, we absolutely can. It's up to us Sainers to get to the game, get to Marvel, create a hostile environment. We know, and I went there earlier in the year. I went to Adelaide. I know what they do. They make it scary. They intimidate away fans. We need to do that to them because I highly doubt their fans are going to travel. Whether they can or not, I've got no idea with travel restrictions and everything. But we need to make it hostile for them. We need to make it feel like it's a final and there's 30,000 Sainers and no Port fans. That would be the best way to get over the line. Just create an environment where they feel uncomfortable and make our boys stand taller and play tougher. Because if they do that, they're going to be hard to beat. And if we can beat Brisbane, fuck yeah, we can beat Port. So bring it on. This one's from Dylan. Really pleasing to see we played out 4 quarters and didn't fade away. Yeah, that was the big test. Even going into the last quarter, we're only, I think, 13 points up. And you always thought, well, if Brisbane turned it on for 5 minutes, there's absolutely a chance that we may cough it up and struggle to win the game. But we were the stronger team. We were the fitter team. We kept running. We kept kicking goals. They didn't fire a shot really in the last quarter, and we ran away with it. So I think that adds to the belief, and that really does add to the myth that we are fit enough. Everyone, it's an easy excuse to say that we're not fit when we have last quarters like we did last week, but it's all mental. And tonight, mentally, we were switched on from the outset, and it showed, the foot skills, the execution, everything was going for us. Brisbane might have been 5% off, absolutely, but we were on, and, I said during the week, if they were off by 5-10% and we were on, we'd give ourselves a chance. I didn't think it'd be a 5-goal win chance, but I thought maybe we'd pinch it or it would be close or an honourable loss. But this exceeded all expectations on my part. Oh, what else we got? Shane says, I could not see a passenger in the team tonight apart from Butler. Yeah, I really wanted Butler to kick some more snags tonight. He kicked one, but it was touched, which was unfortunate. But I think in the last month, he's been number one for pressure acts in our team. And he chased a lot tonight. He tackled well. He kicked it along the deck when he needed to. And I think at times probably when he didn't need to and he needed to put his body on the line and pick the ball up. But with Higgins out, you're not going to drop Butler. And obviously Butler's better than Loney. So you've got to keep Butler in. He's too good for the opposition to disregard, whereas Loney and Dean Kent maybe they can afford that and run off them. But Butler's good for a couple of goals if he's on, and unfortunately he hasn't been on much this year. But yeah, he's not going to be dropped next week. He's not going to be dropped anytime soon. Especially not after our best win of the season. No chance. Just loading more comments, guys. Heaps of comments. Thanks a lot. This is a great comment. I'll be there Saturday night and I'll definitely make all those Port fuckers feel uncomfortable. Yeah, but don't get kicked out, all right? Don't get kicked out. Make them feel uncomfortable. But, Port fans, they're a bit feral in Adelaide. We all know that. If you've been to Adelaide Oval, you would understand what I'm saying. But we don't want to be feral. We just want to cheer the team on and cheer them loud and make their team feel uncomfortable. That's the number one thing. But definitely get to the game and support the boys. Absolutely support that. Good stat, Taylor. Port are 1-8 against top 8 teams this year. We can beat them at Marvel. What are our stats against top 8 teams? I think we're probably better. We're at least even because we beat Brisbane. They're a top 4 team. We've beaten them. Who else have we beaten that's in the West Coast? I think are in the 8, so that's 2. Who else is in the 8? I don't think anyone else we've beaten at this moment, but we're building. So if we win next week, that'll be 3 wins against top 8 teams, and 2 of them would have been in the top 4 when we played them, I believe. So that's huge. So great stat there, but it means nothing come the bounce next Saturday night. We've got to be switched on, absolutely. And I would go in almost unchanged if we can. Mason Wood was the laid out, but Dean Kent proved his worth. So maybe we do go in unchanged. Maybe it's a bit harsh that he's dropped. But yeah, Josh Battle would be the other one. Let's see how he goes tomorrow at Sandy. Dan Hanbury's another one, but I hear that we're going to give him a couple of weeks, so no guarantee he comes into play, but maybe he does if he has a decent performance. But that's a good stat, and they do travel poorly, but when it comes to the bounce next week, we're all going to be stressing and hoping that we bring this effort again. Jason, if I thought we could smash him, of course we can, if we turn up. But I love that confidence. Orlando. It is crazy to think that we could be a Sydney sort of team if things went our way in games like Adelaide and Geelong. Yeah, like I said before, to be 9th and to only be... Like, if we had won those 2 games, where would we have been? We'd be 10-7, and we'd be looking at being borderline 6th or 5th or something on the ladder. That's outrageous for the year we've had. Like, it's crazy. And I've just seen a couple of comments here. Sorry to jump the gun. But yeah, I've just remembered we didn't have Jack Higgins tonight. I completely forgot. Thanks, Peter. But yeah, Higgins would be the straight in. Dean Kent probably out. Or maybe Connolly. But Connolly he doesn't get a lot of the ball. But he's got that leg speed. He's got a bit of breakneck speed. He kind of changes angles. He doesn't look phased. And he's a great disposal. Whether he keeps his position in or not, I don't know. But it's going to be a hard task next week to decide who comes in. Does Mason Wood come back in? Does Josh Battle come back in? Does Dan Hanbury come back in? Jack Higgins obviously automatic, but who comes out? And how does that change the way we play? It's going to be under the roof, so we could probably go taller. Maybe a Josh Battle comes in, and we bring in Higgins, and then you keep Connolly and these sort of guys. Who knows? And Dean Kent. Remains to be seen. This one's from Jeff. Brilliant last quarter. Yeah, we can finish games. Absolutely we can. 2 new guys. What is this son? 3, pushed hard by the Lions but never dropped their heads under pressure. Just gave it back double. forward, did I mention brilliant last quarter 5? Out of the last 12 quarters played, 11 were on fire. Not bad. That's a great stat. Like I said last week, we had played 7 of 8 quarters. Now we've played 11 of 12. You can't ask for much more than that, Sainers. That's a great performance, and our last month has been the best month out of any team. Any team outside, sorry, the wine just got to me. Any team outside the top 8, 4-2, and only the 2 losses I believe were 6 points and 9 points. So going into this game, our average loss margin was actually less than Brisbane's. Brisbane had lost 1 game in the last 5. That was to Melbourne, 22 points, and ours was a 6 and a 9, 15. So crazy to think in the last 5 weeks, in the last month of football, we've actually lost by less than Brisbane. So maybe the form line going into this game was better than what people gave us credit for. We were $4.60 on Sportsbet. I had an inkling to go for the old bet, but I didn't, and now I'm regretting it big time. And over 30 points would have been handy. Brenton Skull, mate. I won't skull it, but I'll have a cheers if everyone does it with me. Beautiful. Goes down very smooth, mate. All right, we'll go with a couple more, and then I reckon we'll wrap it up so we can all get to the replay and enjoy the rest of the night. And just feel awesome. We're going to wake up tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow is Brett Ratton's 50th birthday. What a birthday present for Rats. So everyone, I'll post it tomorrow for Rats, but everyone get on that post. Wish him a happy birthday. What a present for Brett Ratton. We haven't had this feeling all year. This genuinely feels like last year when we made finals and then when we won the final against the Dogs. That's what it feels like to me. It's such a big win for us in terms of belief and in terms of keeping the season alive. Honestly, I don't smoke, so not my go. But I always do get asked for ID. Fun fact, always. I get a bit of a tipple delivery coming along before games, just delivering some wine for the games. And yeah, of course, the guy's like, show us some ID. I'm like, mate, 28 years old. This is embarrassing. What do I have to do to not show ID? Yep, don't worry, Stuart. We've absolutely commented. Jimmy Webster's effort on Cameron was phenomenal. It was almost match-winning because Cameron's been the form small forward in the comp. And for him to keep him goalless, I don't know how many times Cameron's gone goalless this year, but he's done it. And I think Danaher was also goalless tonight, wasn't he? I'm not sure if Danaher was as well, but huge effort from our backline in general. So Brogan, we'll wrap it up on this, guys. This is from Brogan. Impressive review today, Jakey. Liking how you pull up the comments. Thanks, mate. Thanks a lot. Just trialing a new platform. Hopefully I'll be able to maybe next week or the week after or even next year. We'll try and ease into it, but I'm just trying to test the kinks. Obviously get this perfect before we launch into it, but hypothetically I'll be able to put a link in the comments and you guys click on the link. You'll join this stream in a waiting room and I'll be able to add you and then you'll be able to talk to me just like Joycey talked to me previously. So we're testing it out. We'll get Marshy on, we'll get Joycey, we'll get a few other regulars on. If anyone else wants to join for a win and have a chat next week or the week after, message me in advance and we'll try and get you on and get some fan cams going, but just easing into it. But appreciate your comment there, mate. Glad to see everyone's liking the new format, so that means a lot. Thanks. What's a good one to end on? Let's see. I'll leave it on that, guys, and yeah, we'll leave it on. We'll go here. We'll go with Thomas. Hells yeah, Jakey. Cheers, you mighty Sainers. I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining myself, joining Joycey, enjoying a drink, and celebrating such a massive win for the club. A 32-point win over the Brisbane Lions. What a performance. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Sainers. We'll be back in the studio on Tuesday for the podcast, so stay tuned for that. This will be up on YouTube, so if you came in halfway and you missed the start of it with Joycey, get onto YouTube at Saints TV Official, subscribe, and you'll get all the videos there as they come out. And obviously, we're on Instagram as well at Saints TV Official, so it'd mean a lot if you could go and follow us on there as well if you don't already. But until next week, guys, Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Watch the replay 10 million times. Have a bevy. And just think about how good it is to beat the Brisbane Lions by 32 points and to know that we're still in with the chance of playing finals football in season 2021. Thanks again for watching, guys. Go you mighty Sainers. And we'll finish it here. Cheers, guys. Catch ya.